There are those who move through life assuming that only the visible world is real. To them, what cannot be measured or quantified must be dismissed. Yet, anyone who has observed history or their own conscience knows better. There exists an unseen reality, one that watches, waits, and at times intervenes. Among these unseen forces are what some might call monitoring spirits. They are not mere myths or the inventions of primitive minds, but a reality described in ancient wisdom and felt in the quiet unease of the watchful night. Their purpose? To observe, to track, to subtly influence when the moment is ripe. How then does one know if such eyes are upon them? Here are 5 signs that unseen watchers may be studying your every move. The recurring interference. Have you ever set your mind on an important task, only to find that distractions and disruptions arise with unnatural precision? Not the ordinary inconveniences of life, but a peculiar string of events that seem orchestrated to delay, discourage, or deter. This is no mere accident. Monitoring spirits are not passive. They observe and, when necessary, interfere. The sudden unnatural guilt or fear. It is wise to feel guilt when one has done wrong, just as it is natural to feel fear when danger is near. But what of that guilt that arrives without cause, or the fear that grips the heart in the absence of threat? Such emotions, placed skillfully, can weaken resolve, distort judgment, and turn a person away from the path they were meant to walk. If an unseen force seeks to hinder you, it may do so by sowing unfounded doubts into your very soul, the uncanny exposure of your secrets. When you confide in a friend or make plans in private, have you ever noticed how, without explanation, certain individuals seem to know what was said? It is as if an unseen informant has carried your words into the wrong ears. Ideas, intentions, and even personal struggles often become mysteriously exposed. This is no mere coincidence, but a sign that something unseen is listening, waiting for an opportunity to twist what is meant for good. The unexplained presence in your surroundings, a sense of being watched when no one is there, shadows that seem to linger at the edges of vision, whispers just beyond the range of comprehension. Those skeptics scoff at such experiences. Those who have encountered them know they are not mere tricks of the mind. The unseen world has its messengers, and not all of them are benevolent. The unusual resistance to spiritual growth. Perhaps the most telling sign is the inexplicable resistance that arises when one attempts to strengthen their spirit. A sudden disinterest in matters of truth. An unseen weight upon the mind when attempting to pray, read, or meditate. These are not always natural occurrences. Often they are the result of something that does not wish you to grow, something that benefits from your ignorance and distraction. What must be done? To live unaware of the unseen is to live vulnerable. The wise man does not fear the existence of hidden forces, but acknowledges them, preparing accordingly. One must be vigilant in thought, discerning in speech, and unwavering in the pursuit of truth. Let not fear govern your response, but instead let knowledge and steadfastness be your defense. For those who are watched, know this: awareness is the first step toward freedom. The second is to refuse to live as prey. The reality of the unseen. The world, as perceived by human senses, is but a fraction of what truly exists. Sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell allow us to interact with the physical realm, yet they provide no access to the vast realities that lie beyond. Throughout history, countless thinkers, scholars, and spiritual seekers have attested to the presence of an unseen world, one that operates parallel to our own, influencing, observing, and at times intervening in human affairs. Science itself acknowledges the limits of human perception. Infrared light, ultraviolet rays, radio waves, and countless other energies move through space undetected by the naked eye, requiring instruments to make their existence known. Just as the natural world contains hidden forces beyond ordinary sight, so too does the spiritual realm hold realities that cannot be measured by conventional means. The lack of direct sensory confirmation does not negate their existence. It simply means that humans, in their present state, are not fully equipped to perceive them. History and ancient texts from civilizations around the world speak of beings that exist beyond human sight. Whether described as messengers, watchers, or spiritual entities, these figures appear in countless cultures, often with eerily similar roles and characteristics. They are said to observe the affairs of men, record their actions, and at times influence outcomes in ways both subtle and overt. Some are benevolent, guiding and protecting those under their watch. Others, however, are described as deceivers, manipulators, and obstacles to human progress. Their motives remain a mystery to many, but their presence is attested by centuries of human experience. Dreams and visions have long been regarded as windows into this unseen world. Many individuals throughout history have reported encounters that defy explanation, visions of events before they happen, warnings of unseen dangers, or messages delivered in the quiet of the night. While modern skepticism dismisses such accounts as mere products of the subconscious mind, those who have experienced them firsthand often struggle to reconcile their vividness with mere imagination. The possibility remains that such occurrences are glimpses into a realm beyond the limits of waking perception. Beyond personal experiences, there are moments in history that suggest the intervention of unseen forces. Sudden changes in the course of battles, inexplicable survivals from disasters, and the uncanny fulfillment of ancient prophecies raise questions about the extent to which the unseen world interacts with human affairs. The influence of the hidden realm does not always announce itself in dramatic fashion. More often than not, it operates in whispers, nudges, and seemingly coincidental alignments of events that lead to outcomes beyond human calculation. Technology and modern advancements have not eliminated belief in the unseen. Rather, they have shifted its focus. While ancient societies attributed certain events to spiritual causes, today many consider them the workings of unseen energies, frequencies, or even dimensions yet to be fully understood. The concept of parallel realities, hidden observers, and forces that shape human thought has not disappeared. It has simply been repackaged in terms more palatable to a scientific age. Yet the core idea remains: there exists more than what the eyes can see. Many who dismiss the reality of the unseen do so not out of reason, but out of reluctance. To acknowledge such a realm is to admit vulnerability, to accept that human strength, intellect, and technology do not hold ultimate dominion over existence. The thought that something beyond human control might be watching, influencing, or recording events unsettles the mind. It is far easier to believe in a world that operates solely by chance, where only the material is real and where human will alone shapes destiny. Yet, deep down, many sense that this is not the full story. The unseen does not demand belief in order to exist. It simply is. Those who recognize its presence move with a certain awareness, an understanding that life is more than a series of random occurrences. They do not attribute everything to unseen forces, nor do they surrender their reason to superstition. Instead, they acknowledge that just as the natural world contains hidden depths waiting to be discovered, so too does the spiritual realm hold realities beyond what the human mind can currently grasp. The nature of monitoring spirits. Monitoring spirits, by their very nature, are entities assigned or inclined to observe, track, and record human activity. Unlike mere passive observers, their purpose extends beyond curiosity. They serve a role, whether for unseen forces that seek control, manipulation, or strategic influence over a person's life. They do not act randomly but with intention, watching specific individuals for specific reasons, often in patterns that can be recognized by those who pay close attention. These spirits do not announce their presence openly. Their work thrives in secrecy, in the unnoticed corners of existence, in moments dismissed as coincidence. They observe actions, thoughts, and sometimes even the unspoken intentions of those they track. Their method is subtle, watching without direct interference until the time is right to act or relay information to other spiritual entities with a vested interest in the person's life. History and ancient writings contain references to spiritual watchers, beings that do not necessarily harm but always observe. Some traditions speak of them as agents of divine justice, keeping record of deeds both good and evil, while others describe them as adversaries, seeking opportunities to manipulate outcomes. Whether viewed as neutral, benevolent, or malevolent, their role is largely the same: to track and report. The means by which they observe are not limited to physical proximity. Unlike human spies, monitoring spirits do not require line of sight or tangible tools. They can operate through various conduits, objects, locations, even people, who unknowingly act as gateways for their influence. Certain items, particularly those with historical or spiritual significance, can serve as anchors, allowing a spirit to maintain an unseen presence in a person's environment. People, too, can unknowingly serve as conduits for monitoring spirits. Those who are spiritually sensitive or susceptible to influence can, through fear, anger, or even ignorance, create an opening for these spirits to gain access. It is not always through possession or direct control, but rather a subtle connection, allowing the spirit to gather information through the unaware individual's senses, emotions, and interactions. Monitoring spirits are not bound by human limitations of time and space. They do not require sleep, nor do they lose focus. Their persistence is one of their greatest advantages. Where a human observer may grow tired, distracted, or lose interest, a spiritual watcher remains diligent. It does not forget details, nor does it overlook patterns in behavior. This persistence makes them formidable, as they can patiently gather intelligence over extended periods before acting upon it. The environments in which these spirits operate are not random. They often focus on individuals who are of spiritual significance, those undergoing transformation, or those who are nearing a breakthrough in their personal or professional lives. They thrive in places of secrecy, where people assume they are unobserved, whether in private chambers, moments of solitude, or places where hidden decisions are made. Though they are unseen, their presence can sometimes be detected. Those who are spiritually aware may sense an unnatural weight in the air, a feeling of being watched without explanation, or an unshakable discomfort in certain spaces. Such feelings are not baseless paranoia, but often the first indicators of an unseen observer at work. Their role does not always end with observation. While their primary function may be to track and report, some monitoring spirits are also tasked with influencing their subjects. This can take the form of whispered suggestions, subtle manipulations of thought, or even the orchestration of external circumstances to alter a person's course of action. By using knowledge gathered through careful surveillance, they can introduce well-timed distractions, fears, or obstacles to disrupt a person's progress. Those who dismiss the idea of monitoring spirits often do so out of an assumption that what cannot be seen does not exist. Yet the same logic would deny the presence of air, gravity, or unseen waves of communication that power modern technology. Just because a force operates beyond the visible spectrum does not mean it is absent. Monitoring spirits exist in this realm of the unseen, operating with precision, patience, and purpose, waiting for the opportune moment to fulfill their role. Signs of their watchful presence. A sense of being watched without explanation is often the first sign of an unseen observer. This is not the ordinary awareness of someone physically present, but an unshakable feeling that eyes are upon you even when you are alone. It may come in waves, intensifying at certain moments, particularly when engaging in private or spiritually significant activities. Unusual disruptions in daily life can indicate the presence of monitoring spirits. A pattern of distractions, obstacles, or strange delays appearing whenever you attempt to focus on important matters may suggest interference. These disturbances often follow a precise pattern, arising at key moments rather than randomly. If progress is frequently halted by inexplicable interruptions, it is worth questioning whether an unseen force is orchestrating these events. Repeated exposure of personal information, thoughts, or plans without logical explanation may be a sign that something unseen is listening. If private matters consistently find their way into the wrong hands, or if individuals appear to know details they were never told, an external observer may be at work. This phenomenon is not always the result of human betrayal, but can stem from unseen forces that relay information to those who can use it against you. Dreams and visions that carry a sense of surveillance rather than guidance can reveal the presence of monitoring spirits. Unlike meaningful dreams that provide insight or warning, these experiences often feel invasive, as if something is watching from the shadows rather than communicating directly. Recurring dreams of being followed, observed through unseen eyes, or trapped in an environment where privacy is impossible are often indicators of spiritual monitoring. Electronic disturbances and unexplained technological malfunctions can sometimes point to an unseen observer. Devices turning on or off without cause, unusual static interference, or sudden system failures when discussing private matters could indicate the influence of monitoring spirits. While not every technical glitch is supernatural, persistent patterns of electronic disruptions occurring alongside other signs of surveillance should not be ignored. Mysterious presences in familiar environments may indicate spiritual surveillance. This can manifest as shadows in peripheral vision, fleeting figures that disappear when looked at directly, or a sense of movement when no one is present. In some cases, this presence can be felt rather than seen, a sudden chill in the air, a shift in energy, or an unexplained pressure in the atmosphere. Strange behavior from animals can also serve as a warning sign. Pets, particularly dogs and cats, often react to unseen entities before humans become aware of them. If an animal repeatedly fixates on a specific area, growls or cowers at seemingly empty space, or refuses to enter a particular room, they may be sensing a presence beyond human perception. While animals can react to natural causes, consistent and unusual behavior in response to unseen forces should be noted. Unnatural emotions that seem to come from nowhere can be another indicator. Sudden, inexplicable feelings of fear, anxiety, or paranoia without any apparent cause may stem from the influence of a monitoring spirit. These emotions often arrive at specific times, such as when engaging in activities that require focus, making important decisions, or attempting spiritual growth. If these sensations vanish abruptly after leaving a particular place or completing a task, it may be a sign of external influence rather than internal distress. Recurring patterns of failure or resistance in areas where success should be natural may suggest interference from an unseen observer. If every attempt at progress is met with an unexplainable obstacle, if key moments of breakthrough are disrupted without clear reason, or if opportunities repeatedly slip away in improbable ways, something beyond coincidence may be at play. Monitoring spirits do not merely observe, they can influence events when necessary, using knowledge of a person's weaknesses and habits to delay or deter advancement. Unusual encounters with certain individuals may also reveal signs of surveillance. Sometimes, people who act as conduits for these spirits will suddenly appear in moments of vulnerability. These individuals may seem to know more than they should, express an unnatural interest in personal matters, or be present in key moments of decision-making without clear reason. While not every stranger or acquaintance is under spiritual influence, repeated experiences of unwarranted attention or interference should raise awareness of possible unseen observation. A sudden decline in spiritual awareness or an unexplainable aversion to prayer, meditation, or personal reflection may be an indirect sign of monitoring. If a person who once sought wisdom or enlightenment finds themselves inexplicably resistant to such pursuits, it is worth considering whether external forces are discouraging their progress. This resistance is often accompanied by distractions, mental fog, or an unexplained lack of motivation to engage in deeper understanding. Unaccountable noises or whispers in moments of solitude may indicate a spiritual presence. These are not the ordinary creaks of an old house or the distant sounds of the night, but distinct, almost intentional noises that create the sense of an unseen presence, whispers that cannot be traced to a source, knocking sounds without logical explanation, or distant murmurs that fade as soon as attention is given to them, are common signs of a hidden observer. A shift in energy within certain environments can signal an unseen force at work. Locations where monitoring spirits are active often carry a different atmosphere, one that feels heavy, oppressive, or unsettling for no obvious reason. Certain areas of a home, workplace, or frequently visited space may develop a reputation for discomfort, even among different individuals who visit them at separate times. If multiple people describe an area as feeling off despite no physical cause, it may be a site of hidden observation. Physical sensations without medical explanation can sometimes reveal an unseen presence. The feeling of being touched when no one is there, sudden temperature shifts, or an unexplained pressure on the chest or shoulders can all be indicators of monitoring spirits. While not all such experiences are supernatural, those that occur repeatedly in moments of solitude or spiritual reflection may point to external observation. Loss of personal clarity and increased confusion in important matters may indicate unseen interference. Monitoring spirits do not always act to harm directly, but can introduce subtle forms of distraction and misdirection. A person who normally possesses strong discernment but suddenly finds themselves unable to focus, make decisions, or recall important details may be under spiritual surveillance that seeks to cloud their perception. Recurring symbols, numbers, or images in unrelated contexts may serve as indicators of monitoring. These can manifest in repeated encounters with specific patterns, unusual repetitions of a particular number, symbol, or phrase appearing in unexpected places. While some patterns are coincidental, those that create a distinct feeling of being watched or guided toward a particular outcome should not be dismissed. An increase in negative coincidences occurring in close succession can be another sign of unseen observers at work. If a series of small misfortunes, misunderstandings, or missed opportunities aligns too perfectly to be random, it may be a sign of external forces orchestrating delays or discouragement. Monitoring spirits do not create chaos for its own sake, but often use minor disruptions to erode confidence and shift a person's direction subtly. A persistent voice of doubt or confusion arising from nowhere may indicate the influence of a spiritual observer. These are not the natural doubts of the human mind, but sudden, overpowering thoughts that seem foreign, ideas that break concentration, disrupt faith, or instill fear without logical cause. Such mental interference often aligns with key moments of decision-making or personal breakthroughs, suggesting an intentional effort to distort perception. Those who become aware of these signs must not fall into fear, but should instead recognize the presence of monitoring spirits as a call to greater awareness. Being watched does not mean one is powerless. It simply means that vigilance, discernment, and intentional action are necessary to counteract unseen observation.